In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to do the circuit stitch. Really beautiful stitch with raised areas so you get a beautiful texture, and because they're in a sort of circle or an oval, that's where it gets its name circuit. Same on the front as it is on the back, because after rows 1 and 2, row 3 is a repeated pattern throughout. So for this tutorial I'm going to use an Aran weight yarn. I'm using a 5.5mm hook because I want some extra room for manoeuvre with this stitch, but you can use any appropriate size hook to the yarn that you choose. I have scissors to cut off my end and my yarn needle to sew in my ends. So we're going to be making a foundation row. We're going to start off by making a slip knot. You can do this in whichever way you prefer. And our foundation chain needs to be made in multiples of 4. So we yarn over and pull through the slip knot. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So pause the video now whilst you make your foundation chain in multiples of 4, and I shall see you in a moment. So I've made my foundation chain in multiples of 4. I have chosen to do 20 chains as this is just a sample piece, but obviously you can make this as long or as short as you'd like it to be for whichever project you choose to use. So for row 1 then, we are going to double crochet in the second chain from the hook. US terms, that would be single crochet. So we don't count the one on the hook, so 1, 2, we go in there with a double crochet, so we insert, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. We're going to do the same in the next chain, and we're going to put 1 double crochet as UK terms or 1 single crochet in US terms in every single chain back down the row. So pause the video now whilst you do your row of double crochets, and I shall see you in a moment. So just do my last stitch on row 1, and there we have our foundation row of double crochets. So for row 2 then, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn our work. The chain 1 does not count, so we're going to go into that very first stitch, and in there we're going to do 1 double crochet. Remember, that's UK terms, you want a single crochet in US. We're then going to skip the next 2 stitches, so 1, 2, and in the next stitch we're going to do a little cluster of stitches. So we're going to start off with a treble, so yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Then we're going to do another treble. Then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and in the very same stitch we're going to do 1 double crochet. So in that one stitch we've had 2 trebles, 2 chains and 1 double. We're then going to skip 3 stitches this time, so 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th stitch we're going to do that same cluster. So we're going to do 2 trebles, so that's 1 treble, 2 trebles, chain 2, and 1 double crochet. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3. In the 4th one, I'm going to do 2 trebles, 2 chains, and 1 double. And we're carrying on all the way down the row in the same way, so you're going to skip 3 chains, and then in the 4th stitch, you're going to work 2 trebles, 2 chains and 1 double, and carry on down your row till you get to your last 3 stitches, and I will see you there. So I've got to my last 3 stitches, so 1, 2, 3. I've just done my last little cluster. I'm going to chain 1, going to skip 2 stitches, and in the very last stitch I'm going in with a treble. And that's the end of row 2. Now row 3 is the repeating pattern. So from now on you're just going to repeat row 3 all the way till you've finished your piece of work. So we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn our work. Chain 1 does not count, therefore we're going to do a double crochet in that very first stitch there. We're now going to be working into the 2 chain spaces, so be careful not to go into this one. This is the 1 chain space from the previous row. We're going into the 2 chain spaces that are part of that cluster of stitches. So in that 2 chain space then we are going to do the 2 trebles, so 1 and 2, 2 chains. And now instead of doing the double crochet into the 2 chain space, we're actually going to work it around the post. So it's going to be a front post double crochet around this treble. So you've got your 2 trebles from the previous round, it's the first one that you get to. So we don't need to yarn over, we just go in behind the stitch around the post, yarn over, pull a loop through, and then complete your double crochet. And that gives you the raised part. Working around posts will give you the textured look. So we don't need to worry about the next bit, we're just going to work into the next 2 chain space, and we're going in there with 2 trebles again, 2 chains, and then a front post double crochet around the treble from the previous row. And we're just going to repeat this all the way down the row. So we find our 2 chain space, we do 2 trebles, we chain 2, and we do our front post double crochet. So pause the video now until you get to your last 2 stitches, and I'll show you what to do at the end of the row. So I've come to the end of my row and I've got my last 2 stitches here. Now it sort of looks like I've got 3 stitches, but that treble is actually in front of that stitch, so it's the last 2 there. So we're going to chain 1, that will travel us over the first stitch, and then in the very last stitch we're going to end with a treble. And that's what our pattern should look like. So we're then just going to repeat row 3. So I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, double crochet in that very first stitch because the chain 1 doesn't count. Making sure we don't work into the 1 chain space from the previous row, we're going into the 2 chain spaces of the clusters, and we go in there with our 2 trebles, two chains, and our front post double crochet. Skip the next little section to the next 2 chain space, 2 trebles, 2 chains, and a front post double crochet. So I'm going to work up a few more rows for you to see how it looks, and I shall see you in a moment. So I've just worked up a few more rows for you to see how it looks. You get this beautiful depth to the fabric. It is the same on the front as it is on the back, because obviously it's a 1 row repeat after row 3. And it's just a really beautiful stitch. Not too much of a yarn eater really, in fact I wouldn't say it's a yarn eater at all, it's just, it looks like it's going to be a yarn eater because of the depth to the stitches, but actually it was pretty good. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the algorithm to show it to other crocheters. Don't forget to check out the Conquer Crochet shop. That's shop.conquercrochet.com for lots of lovely things like this beautiful stitch marker here. If you've enjoyed this video, as I say, give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to subscribe, that is free to do so, and there are lots of tutorial videos on my channel. I shall pop 2 more videos on the side of the screen to help you on your crochet journey, and I will see you over there. Thank you so much for joining me on this one, and happy hooking!